Yo, what up, Facebook? What up, YouTube? What's going on, guys? Hey, guys, you got Darren Little here from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and I wanted to hop on here and talk to you today about why do most people fail online? Why do most people fail online? Okay, I see people piling on here. Who do we got, guys? If you're tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're tuning in live, throw me a hashtag live. Tell me the city that you're tuning in from. There's people normally tuning in from all around the world. Who do we got here? We got Ron Mayberry. Welcome to the broadcast. Great Tuesday to you there, Ron Mayberry. How are you? Guys, throw me a comment so that we can showcase you, right? We can showcase you so that I know where you're tuning in from. We've got Sean Rigby is tuning in live from the UK. Awesome. Great to see you, Sean, always showing up. Ron is tuning in from Newcastle, Delaware. Guys, I can see you tuning in, right? You can't hide, okay? Because I can see you right there on the corner of the screen. So let me know, where are you tuning in from? We've got Anna Carter tuning in from the UK. UK is in the house today. Oh. We got Jeff Niquette live from Massachusetts, USA. Great to see you, Jeff Niquette. Who else we got, guys? Who else we got? Don't be shy, guys. I want to be able to showcase you. If you've tuned in and given StreamYard permission, then I can actually showcase your picture. And I believe that the more times that people see your face, that actually is what makes a person famous, just so you know, okay? I say to people a lot of time, do you know what makes a person famous? What makes a person famous? How many times you see their face, okay? And I want to help make you famous. So let's showcase you on today's broadcast, guys. Okay, we got John Campbell is tuning in from the Caribbean. Great to see you, John Campbell. We've got Samuel Mojica tuning in live. Guys, that is a great story right there, okay? Samuel Mojica was working at the bread factory, okay, at the bread factory making minimum wage, and he plugged into Millionaire Mentoring. His very first month, okay, very first month, he made $23,000 US. Standing ovation, okay, to Samuel Mojica, totally coachable. We've got, I think it's Jan or Yan, I'm not too sure. I think Jan live. How are you, sir? Great to see you here. We have Miriam. Great to see you here, tuning in from Saskatchewan, Canada. Great to see you, Miriam. Okay, guys, what I want to do on today's broadcast is I want to, this broadcast, I want you to know, was actually inspired earlier today, right? And I had been chatting with a gentleman that was, we had chatted back and forth on Facebook Messenger. And, people get lured in by hype, okay? I don't believe in hype. I believe in one thing, results, okay? Results. People join a business because they want results, okay? Hype doesn't work, guys, okay? Hype is like a helium balloon, and at some point, it pops, and then you got nothing left. You got to be able to generate results in your business. People want to follow a formula, a blueprint that's going to be able to generate for them results, okay? And in our particular business model, whether it's in the direct sales business model, whether you're an affiliate marketer, an online marketer, or a network marketer, they're all very, very similar business models, okay? So anything where you're selling a product, you've got to get good with one thing, okay? One single thing. People, guys, okay? People. And on social media, if you have no audience, you're wasting your day, okay? I'm telling you guys this straight up. In the event that you set up a Facebook profile and you keep on putting out content, and it's you can see the timer. So the timer goes and it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, half the day, 24 hours, and it's a ghost town. You have no audience, guys. And if you don't learn the strategies on how to go get an audience, get off Facebook, okay? Because you're going to waste away your day watching videos and scrolling feeds, you're going to waste away your day. Okay, I'm telling you this from years and years of experience of this process and training tens of thousands of people and showing them what they need to do to get to the promised land. Okay, no audience equals no money. Okay, remember this: no audience equals no money on social media. Okay, we've got David tuning in on my way to a Blues game. Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks a lot for tuning in on the way. We got Valentine watching from West Africa, Liberia. Welcome. We've got Jan. Okay, so I know then. Second pronunciation, all good. We've got Jonathan. Pleasure to connect with you to get value again. Awesome. Great to see you here. And what else? We got results are what get respect and separates the charlatans from the real pros in the industry. Okay, guys, so a couple of things. This was actually inspired from a conversation that I was on earlier today. And how does this stuff start? So I had content on my wall, and the content on my wall generated some interest. The interest went to Facebook Messenger, and then there was a little bit of rapport, a little bit of connection. And then from there, I went over onto Zoom. Okay, Zoom is a video software. You can also use this right here. This is where the money is, just so you know. You can use your Facebook Messenger phone, or you can get onto Skype. But business is built on relationships, guys. Okay, relationships. And in the event that whoever it is that's pitching you on something is scared to get to this point where you're meeting face to face, there is a high probability, very high, that you're dealing with a professional scammer. Okay, so I'm just telling you this from the one side of being, a customer, so to speak. You're looking for somebody that you're going to join. If somebody shows up in your inbox with hype, and then they don't want to get onto this where you can talk to them face to face, you're dealing with a professional scammer. So keep that in mind. Now, on the other side, in the event that you're a leader in the industry, you want to be getting onto, face to face with people, because if somebody's going to pull out their credit card and spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, or up higher, some of these high ticket companies have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. They want to speak to a real human being. Okay. And it's no different in any other type of business, whether you're a real estate, mortgage broker, insurance agent, automotive industry. It's about relationships. Okay. Relationships. So here's what happened. So we got onto Zoom, and I had a chance to speak to him face to face. And I shared my screen. I took him a little bit behind the scenes. I took him into some groups, showed him some success stories of my students, shared with him some of the strategies that I use personally. Now, think about yourself from the other person's position. So in other words, if you spend time with a person and you can show some results, you can log into your back office, you can go to your group, you can show other people getting results too. What happens is they go from a interested prospect to up here, where now their vision and their dream seems real to them, because they see all of the other people, right, that have gone before them that are having success too. Okay. So he went from, hey, I'm kind of interested, but you know what? I've been burned so many times before. I don't know, right? I don't know. Maybe I'll consider doing one last time. Okay. This is what he said to me in the chat. He goes, I don't know. Maybe I'll consider doing this one last time. Okay. So I got him onto Zoom. Okay. Now, the Zoom allows you to start building a real connection with a real human being and being able to share some value with another person. So we went over to his Facebook wall, and I said, okay, first of all, your picture's too small, because when it shrinks down, you're not going to be recognizable. You got no branding, you got no audience, and you don't understand the content formula on what to do on social media. So during that time, we had an opportunity for a couple of things. Number one, he could see that my results were real. Number two, he could see that there was other people that were generating results too. A lot of my students that had gone from nothing to over $250,000 in 18 months, right? So there was social proof. And then I logged into the actual training area where my students go through so he could see that it was real, okay? Now, after we were done the conversation, he said, you know what? Let's connect in 10 days because I'm ready to get started. And then he said, you know what? I'm going to try. I'm going to try. These were his words. And I said, what are you talking about? You're going to try. You're going to set an intention. You got to set an intention and you got to set out a strategy and you got to go for your dream like it's your last breath of oxygen. That's when you get to your breakthrough, guys. There is no such thing as try. Yoda will say there is no try. There's only do. In the event that you believe in your mind, trying, if I put something in my hand, okay, like this, and I say, try to pick this pen off my hand, okay, and you go like this, and I say, I didn't say to pick it up. I didn't say to pick it up. I said, try to pick it up. It's a big difference. You're either going to pick it up or you're not going to pick it up. It's the same way with success. So you're either going to go for it and you're going to follow the exact steps that from tons of people before you, or you're not going to. There's no halfway. You're either going to do the action steps or you're not going to do the action steps. You're either going to be coachable and show up, or you're not going to show up and you're not going to implement anything that we tell you to do. You see the difference? So the interesting thing is that people get suckered into these concepts of, you know, this passive money raining from the sky when they join some sort of a business. Okay, let me tell you something about our industry, guys. We're in a leadership business model, a personal development leadership business model. If there's no leadership, the people will go look for another leader. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're in a network marketing company. If you stop doing leadership, then the people on your team go look for a leader. Okay, in the event that you're in one of these things that's called a passive program, you're dealing with a Ponzi scheme. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. I'm telling you, the illusion of money raining from the sky is bullshit. Okay, stop getting suckered, guys. Okay, when the leader leaves, the income leaves. I don't care what it is that you're marketing. You've got to take charge. If it's to be, it's up to me. You got to be the CEO of your business, and you've got to lead with value on the front. Okay, value on the front, always. Okay, always. But the core of your content should be personal development, motivation, inspiration. It should lift people up. What your content should motivate people to be able to go deep inside their core so that the leader comes out within them. That is the goal of our industry, guys. It's about lifting other people up and giving them wings, okay? And there is no, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to give this a try. No, you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. You're either going to set your intention and go for your dream, or you're not even going to do it. It's real simple. There's only two paths here, guys. On this path, there's only two paths, okay? Keep this in mind as you start to look for some type of business or start to look for something that's going to generate extra cash flow for you. It's very direct, okay? And I can tell you the biggest problem by far that people have when it comes to an online business, they never do this, okay? This right here is our industry, guys. This right here, whether it's in a Facebook Live format or on a Zoom broadcast format where you're gathering groups of people together as the leader and you're providing those people with something that's going to help them to get to their dream. It could be motivation, it could be inspiration, it could be about mindset, it could be about lead generation, it could be about closing, upselling, team duplication, whatever. It has to be something that's going to help another person to be able to take the veil and go, take the veil off so that they have an actual clear path that they go, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. Okay, so who do we got here? We've got Kevin. Kevin, over the road trucker, listening in. Awesome, Kevin. Great to have you here. We've got Ernest Michael Cook live. Awesome. We've got Stephen Cuffey tuning in. Great to see you here. We've got Fernando from Atlanta, Georgia. We've got Angeline live from New York. We've got Ron Mayberry. Great point, Darren. So many people are led to believe that they just sign up and the money will just start flowing in without doing anything, without any work needed. Classic definition of a scam. You are correct. Okay, what do we got here? You definitely speak the truth. I appreciate that, Stephen. Chrissy Marie, how are you? Tuning in live. Great to see you here. We've got Renee Cole tuning in. Great to see you here. Who else we got? We've got Angeline says, great point, Darren. Guys, you know what? Here's the thing I'm going to tell you, okay? Now, this comes from 3 decades of being in this industry, but the interesting thing about our particular business model is that the same concepts that I learned from my millionaire mentor in my 20s, I transferred over into corporate America, into venture capital, into hiring management teams, raising tens of millions of dollars. The strategies are identical. Now, the interesting thing is that when people get into real estate, mortgage broker, insurance, or the automotive industry, guess what those companies actually teach you? They teach you to make a list of your contacts. This is a true story, guys. Okay, so when you start in the real estate industry, and you typically don't have a huge marketing and advertising budget, they tell you to make a list of your contacts, reach out to those people, tell them you just got into real estate, and say, hey, I'd really appreciate some referrals. If you got anybody that's looking to buy or sell a house, I want you to know that I'm currently in real estate, or I'm currently a mortgage broker, I'm currently in the insurance industry. The business is about relationships, okay? Now, last night, I went out for or it was actually in mid-afternoon. I went out for like a late lunch brunch type thing. And the guy that was sitting right direct next to me, he had been on a long walk and he came in just to have a glass of water. And then he saw me in there and he decided he was going to have a cup of coffee. And we just sat and had a chat. Okay. And he was reflecting back onto his career. Now, he came from corporate America. He wasn't in our industry. But I want you to understand about the similarities here, okay? He was highly successful. He's now retired. He was in an industry where he was selling doors and all of the, the handles and everything, the equipment for the doors, but he was selling them to construction companies that were building like the Shangri-La, okay? The Shangri-La downtown Vancouver, that was one of his accounts, okay? Now, he looked at me and he said, you know what, Darren, you know what's really interesting? You know what people don't understand? He said, what people don't understand is that business is about relationships. Relationships. You can't have relationships with human beings when you're hiding behind your computer, guys. Seriously. If you want people to pull out 1,000, 2, 4, 5, 10,000 and higher, they want to speak to a real human being and they want to have some sort of know, like, and trust where they feel comfortable that they've chosen the right path, okay? That's in our industry. He said, here's what people don't get, Darren. He goes, I was with that company for so long. I only had 15 customers, 15. Okay. And when I decided that I was going to retire and I left the company, they kept on calling me back and saying, we really want you to come back to the company. You are a massive asset to this company. I only had 15 customers, Darren, but I made those people feel good. I spent a lot of time with those people. I did little extra things to them. If we had a big account and we went on trips together. We flew into a city and we rented Harley Davidsons and we went on a whole trip together. It was all about the relationships. Now, during the time that I've been online today, I'm scrolling the news feed and I come up with a post from Grant Cardone with his wife, Elena, who was in Forbes magazine about, things that they were asking 20 different entrepreneurs on what are the tips that they could give you. Guess what Elena Cardone was talking about? Relationships, guys. Okay. Then I come up with another post, was actually from Steve Lawson, and he said, relationships. Stop trying to pitch people the first time that you meet them. This is what people don't get. Now, what's the difference between what my very first millionaire mentor said to me and what I did over in corporate America to raise tens of millions of dollars? It was exactly the same. It's about relationships, guys. And I don't believe that you can truly go to the next level as a leader in our industry in the event that you're hiding behind your computer and you're scared to talk to people. People are your commodity in business, guys. People are your commodity. Okay, what do we got here? We got JC. Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Darren Little. Brother, you rock. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Joseph Anthony. Hello, Darren. Thanks. Keep on growing. Awesome. Good to see you. We got Ron Mayberry. Your network relationship builds your net worth. Standing ovation. Standing ovation. Angeline says, building relationships, the know, like, and trust. We got a Facebook user tuning in with the clap. I appreciate that. Tuning in live from Boston. Throw down your name there so that I can showcase you. If you hit the StreamYard, except from StreamYard, I can showcase your picture here as well. Samuel says, this is the truth. Now, guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about this right here. Samuel Mojica, okay? When he first started in Millionaire Mentoring, he didn't know anything else. He said, Darren, what do I got to do? I said, do these exact steps. And he did. And the first month he was in business, he made $23,000. Okay. Now, during the time of the last 2 years, we've been talking about something that has to do with the law of attraction, and that actually has to do with vibrational resonance. Okay. Vibrational resonance. And what I tell my students is that success is actually a radio broadcast frequency. People don't understand this concept. This has to do with quantum physics. And when you look at if you go to my wall, you scroll down my wall on my Facebook news feed, you'll see a quote there from Albert Einstein. Okay, it's one of my favorite quotes. And he talks about this concept, right? And when you understand this thing to do with vibrational resonance and quantum physics, what you'll realize is that when you tune into a specific vibrational resonance, there's no other possibility than that for that to start to show up in your life. So one of the things I tell my students to do is to go down to a Bentley dealership and sit in a Bentley, okay? But they've got to open up their senses. So when you're opening the car door, you've got to feel the difference in the weight. You got to listen to the sounds. You got to smell the leather. You got to look at the attention to detail. And a lot of people won't do this because there's an invisible barrier between them and walking in the door of the Bentley dealership. And it has to do with self-worth. It has to do with deservability and worthiness. So people believe in their mind that when they walk into that door, that somebody's going to like scold them or something. They're going to, oh, you don't belong here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Right? Or walking into a Rolex dealership and putting on the watch or putting on a high thread count. Okay. So 2 years went by and he didn't do it. This is a true story, guys. Okay. For 2 years. And he finally said, you know what, Darren, I decided that I'm going to up my game. I'm going to do everything that you have said to do that I've avoided doing. I'm going to confront it head on. Okay. So he started to do these action steps. He went to a high-end clothing store. He put on a suit. He went to a high-end car dealership. He went and put on a Rolex. And here's the interesting thing. The illusion, okay, the veil that we have got lifted. And he said, you know what? I cannot believe how nice these people are. And I told them that I was going to come down every week to put on the Rolex. And they said, come on down. welcome on down. We're happy if you come down. Okay. People don't realize this, guys. You're not going to get tossed out. They want you to come in. Okay. He said, I can't believe the reception that I got from these people at the high-end car dealerships like Ferrari and Lamborghini and all these different things. And it's not if you want this or not. This isn't the principle of this concept. It has to do with energy transference. The energy that gets transferred over to your body as a human being that will tune you in to the vibrational resonance so that you can start to feel worthy. You can start to feel deserving. You can start to realize that abundance is your birthright. Okay, there's not enough money in the world that can pay you for your worth, guys. You have to believe this in every single cell of your being and start to raise your standards and raise your standards until a gateway opens and the floodgates open and it starts to show up. But what's the gateway? The gateway in our industry, guys, is leadership. Okay, leadership is the gateway. Okay, so who do we got here? We've got Ron Bayberry says, Sam the man. It's called being coachable, really is what it's called. Standing ovation to Samuel. You've taught me the importance of building relationships from day one, and I am so glad you did. Awesome. Way to go, Ernest. You visualize, you materialize. You know, visualization is an important part of the process, guys, but, you know, it's all about surrendering and feeling worthy, right? We battle the human condition where we don't feel worthy or deserving, or we don't believe that we could ever attain that, right? So people kind of write it off. And I can tell you that when I was working with Dr. Poulos, right? I worked for Dr. Lee Poulos, which I highly recommend. He's got a program called Deep Trance Identification. That program completely transformed my reality, guys. I listened to it every single day. I traveled with it for 8 straight years, okay? Deep Trance Identification, Dr. Lee Poulos, P-U-L-O-S, completely changed my life, completely, okay? And Dr. Poulos pulled me into his office one day, and, you know, he didn't come into the office very often. He was like a celebrity, and, you know, we did our work in the office, and then if he came into the office, it was like, you know, kind of like a special time. So my office phone lights up this one day, right? I'm in my office, and I knew he was in the other office. And he said, Darren, can you come into my office, please, for a minute? I was like, whoa, something amazing is going to happen right now. And he was sitting there, and he was kind of like, he was leaning back in his chair, and he was staring up at the ceiling like this as I walked in the door. And he says, Darren, do you realize that you are where you are right now based upon your thoughts 5 years ago? And part of my consciousness literally left my body, and I saw myself 5 years earlier writing out on a piece of paper, I am, right? Those are the 2 most powerful words in the world. I am vice president of an international company doing international business. I'd written this down 5 years earlier, and there I was in his office. I was vice president of marketing for his company, right? It was called Lifelong Communications. So he says, if you want to know where you're going to be 5 years from today, just look at your thoughts today. And I had visualized that 5 years from that time that I was going to be a millionaire, that I was going to make my first $1 million. Now, he said, you want to know the secret, Darren? I said, absolutely. He said, tell me what kind of car you want. Tell me any kind of car that you want. And I said, well, you know, ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to have a 996 Porsche Carrera. He goes, are you serious about that, Darren? I said, absolutely. He goes, if I gave you the formula, will you guarantee me that you're going to do the formula? I said, absolutely. I'll do the formula. You tell me what to do. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. He said, okay. He said, what I want you to do is I want you to get dressed up like you own the dealership. You own it. Okay. So get dressed up, wear a nice suit, contrasting colors, freshly starched shirt, right? You have to have your pants like perfectly, you know, ironed right down the center. Shoes had to be shiny. And he said, when you show up, doesn't matter what kind of car you drive, the car needs to be clean and the tires need to be dressed or armoralled so that when you drive up, right, it looks like you're getting out of a new car, but you're dressed to the nines. And when you walk in that dealership, you feel like you own the dealership, okay? He said, I don't want you to deal with any salespeople. I want you to go to the front, ask to speak to the sales manager, okay? And you get into their office, build some rapport with them, and change their state, build a little rapport, find things in common. And then I want you to tell them that you need their help. And that your boss has told you that you have to come down to the dealership for 5 minutes and do a visualization session inside the car, right? And if you don't do it, you're going to get fired, okay? And my heart was like this beating, right? I was like, holy crap, like I got to do this stuff, right? So I did this process. I went down to the dealership. I sat down with the sales manager and actually did this. And I got permission from the sales manager that every week I'd come in to do this 5-minute visualization session. Now, here's the interesting thing. Even though I talk about this in my training, there's very, very few people that will ever actually do it. Okay. Very, very few people that will actually be coachable and follow what he told me to do. Okay. So he said, when you walk towards the car, listen to the sound of your shoes. Don't open up the car door fast. Feel the weight on your hand. And when the door opens, take in that woof of leather. But when you get in the car and you shut the door, be very focused on the oxygen and how it hits you in the side of the face, the feeling on the side of your face like this, okay? He said, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to put your hands on the steering wheel, and I want you to become the car. Morph into the car. Feel yourself melting into the car, okay? And after you're done, I want you to talk to the car and thank the car for the time that you spent with the car, and tell the car that you're looking very forward to it showing up in your driveway and that you're going to be back next week and you're going to do it all over again. Will you do this, Darren? I said, absolutely, I will. Okay. Now, most people won't do this, guys. I did it. Okay. Every single week, every single week, every single week, every single week. It took me 44 trips to the Porsche dealership. And finally, when I did show up in the 11th month, at the end of the 11th month, I was there to get the car. This is a true story, guys. Now, here's the interesting thing that happened during the evolution of this process. Number one, the sales manager pulled me into his office and said, Darren, you know what? We knew that you were going to get the car at some point in time. We didn't know when, but it's pretty evident there's been no salesman involved in this transaction. They deducted about $7,000 off the price of that car sitting in the showroom. Okay, so they deducted the salesman's commission off the Porsche, and I drove out with a brand new Porsche. Now, here's what I didn't know, guys. This is when I didn't understand quantum physics. I didn't understand surrendering. I didn't understand manifestation. Didn't understand any of it. I just was coachable, and I listened to everything he told me to do. Okay, what I didn't know is that with the car was going to show up $1 million. With the whole process was going to show up a 5,500 square foot mansion in Las Vegas and another property here in Vancouver and another vacation property and multiple other cars. I didn't understand any of this stuff and how it worked. Okay. I can tell you 100% unequivocally for fact that this is a formula that can get you to freedom. Okay. And anybody that tells me that the law of attraction is fake is full of shit. Okay. Because I have had people that have actually posted this on their wall that were not coachable, that said the law of attraction is a bunch of bunk. And I can tell you for a fact it is real, but most people won't do this process. They won't do the process. So whatever you believe to be true will be true for you in the reality. Whatever you believe. In the event that you don't believe it, then it won't happen. But I can tell you, all I did was follow the exact steps that he told me to do, and it completely transformed my life. And every single person that's done it, there's very few, but the ones that have gone from 0 to $250,000, 0 to 350, 0 to $500,000, 0 to 800,000 because they were coachable. They followed the exact steps. that I told them to do. Okay. People make it way harder on themselves in the event that you feel like action steps alone is what takes to make to seven figures and beyond, because it's the law of attraction, and the law of attraction is always at work. I said to this one particular guy that I ended up tossing out a Millionaire Mentoring. I said, if you don't believe the strategies that I'm teaching, then I'm taking you out. I took him out of the group. Okay, I took him out of the group because he believes that it's action alone that will determine your success or failure. And action steps are only a part of the process, a part of the process. Now, could he have made more money doing the action steps? He could have probably made tenfold the amount of money, but because he doesn't believe the law of attraction is real, he's blocking or hindering his own growth. Oh, well, that's the process, right? It's all about whether or not you're coachable and whether or not you're willing to actually trust the process. Trust the process, okay? Let me just see we got tuning in here. We've had a whole bunch of people come in here. Okay, vibrational resonance. My biggest breakthrough lesson this year so far, people in those high-end places are super nice too. You're correct. Most people never find out, guys, because they won't do it. There's an invisible barrier between them and walking in the door, whether it's Lamborghini or Bentley or Aston Martin or whatever. Okay? And it's not whether or not you want it. People say, oh, I would never spend 350 grand on a car, Darren. Have you even gone and sat in one? Do you even know what I'm talking about? Those people are the ones that have a mental blocker in their mind, and it has to do with self-worth. Self-worth, guys. Okay, your net worth will never exceed your self-worth. Keep that in mind. Hey, Darren, glad to be soaking this in. Awesome, great to see you here. Andrew says, thank you, Darren. Who do we got here? Ray Helton, Darren, you're hitting the nail right on the head over and over again and again. Thank you for sharing this powerful content. Happy to help, Ray. Great to see you here. What you believe to be true will be true for you. Okay, guys, I can tell you countless stories of the law of attraction and manifestation and being able. I had this one particular time where I had a group of students. And I said, guys, you're going to watch me go the beginning of the month, and I'm going to manifest over $100,000 in 30 days. You're going to watch me do it live, okay? I was 3 weeks into the process, and I had only hit 65,000, okay? Now, even if you break down the week, the 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and if the next week had carried over, I still wouldn't have hit 100. Okay, but what did I do? I upped my belief. I upped my value. I started putting up more content, more value, more interviews, and bam! And I ended up hitting 118,000. Now, if you look at the process, even with all the data, it would seem like it wasn't even possible. To go from 65,000 even to 100 is another 35 grand. Okay, but I went from 65 to 118. Okay, and it literally happened right on the last part. So it was like the compression point, and then it went bam, and it broke through. Okay, people don't trust the process, and they become their worst enemy with self-doubt. They don't trust the process. They don't believe it to be true. So guess what? It doesn't happen for them. Raise your standards is right, says Angeline. Samuel Mojica is on fire, 1,000% is coachable, absolutely. It's Dr. Lee Poulos, 1L, okay, 1L. You can actually get that particular deep trance identification. I think it's called Mind Gadget or mindgadgets.com, one of the two. And then go to their search bar, type in Dr. Lee Poulos, deep trance identification. It'll completely transform your life, guys. Okay, trust me on this. Okay, we got Kieran tuning in. Hey, Kieran, how are you? Great content, brother. Appreciate that. Much appreciated. Live from Los Angeles Airport. Wow. Thanks for tuning in, Sonia. Great to see you here. Law of attraction is real. Guys, I'll tell you why the law of attraction doesn't work for most people, okay? They speak about everything they don't want and every possibility that they have, okay? They write about everything that they don't want. And they think constantly of what they don't want, and they're emotionally connected to everything that they don't want. okay? The equation for manifestation is thought, directed emotion that generates feeling. And that's what broadcasts and communicates with the electrons. Now, the law of attraction is always working, but why doesn't it work for most people? Think about this. They're thinking what they don't want, okay? They're speaking what they don't want. They're emotionally connected to what they don't want, and they're broadcasting out and they're asking for more. So guess what shows up? More of what they don't want. Is it a fluke? No, it's called the law of attraction, right? So you got to take charge. You got to be an emotional charge of your reality as the CEO of your business, okay? This is the difference. Visualization is the most important part of manifestation. You can manifest anything that you can visualize. Don't only have the dream, live in it as it is your reality. That is true, Miriam, but if you don't tap into the feeling, okay, the feeling in the physiology in your body, it won't happen, okay? The connection is between the physiology in your body and whatever it is that you want, okay? So your physiology is actually your compass, just so you know, okay? Because a lot of people do visualization and they don't get anything. Why don't they get it, right? Because they're not connected emotionally to the feeling of their future reality. It has to do with the physiology. Angeline says, totally agree with you. Awesome. I sat in a Maserati and wore a $21,000 Rolex watch. Great. Hopefully you documented all of that. It's important, Angeline. A lot of people don't believe the law of attraction because they only believe what they can see. Good point. Fernando says, got it. Awesome. Ron says, that's awesome, Angeline. I did the same thing with a Bentley and a Rolex. Okay, now here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing that you got to consider. Like I took it. Okay, now keep in mind when I was working for Dr. Poulos at that time, I didn't even have a car, guys. I had no car. I was borrowing a car from a friend of mine. Okay, but I made 44 trips to the dealership. 44. Okay, now most people will go once and they think they're done. Okay, and then it doesn't show up and they wonder why. You got to go through this process. How many people would make 44 trips, 44 to a dealership, right? I can tell you that most people, their ego would get in the way, or they would feel embarrassed, or they would just say, oh, I did it a couple times, I'm done. No, you're not. You're not. Okay, now keep in mind, I didn't have a car. So from not having any car and implementing the program, I went from that, and 11 months later, I had the car and I had $1 million and I had the mansion, I had everything, okay? Because I tapped into the process of understanding these principles. Now, keep in mind, I didn't understand anything about quantum physics at the time. It wasn't until I met Dr. Dov Baron that all of it started to make sense of what I had actually done. What Dr. Poulos told me to do was surrender my pride and my ego, which is the first step, right? Most people wouldn't go sit down with a sales manager like that, and they wouldn't make all the trips to the dealership. 44 trips, guys. 44. But I can tell you, it completely transformed my life. Completely. Okay, Reg, love you, bro. Keep up the great work. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. The law of attraction is neutral. It will work for anyone, no matter their background, race, gender, or religion. You're correct. Ask and it is given. Amazing book. That's one of the books I recommend. If you haven't read it, highly recommend that you read that. That's with Esther and Jerry Hicks. In the event that your mind wanders, you can get that book in audio form. I do highly, highly recommend that book. Okay, it's called Ask and It Is Given. Okay, Ask and It Is Given. Another one that I highly recommend is by Wallace D. Wattles. It's called The Science of Getting Rich. Okay, The Science of Getting Rich. Now, in that particular book, Wallace D. Wattles talks about something called formless substance. Okay, formless substance. Guess what that is? That's the electrons, guys. That's the electrons. Okay. Once you start researching this more and you understand it and you get connected through this process of thought directed emotion that generates feeling, it'll completely transform every area of your life. Okay. No joke. Okay. Reg, we've got that one. Appreciate you, Reg. Appreciate you. Your insight is always fire. Love it, brother. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate you. The moment you doubt the process, it actually transmits that you don't need it to happen. Absolutely. That has to do with faith and belief. Faith and belief. Do you believe it's even possible? Would you do the action steps and trust the process? Or would you do 1 month and then throw in the towel and say it's not going to work? I did 44 trips. I tell you for a fact it works. Suzanne, how are you? And it takes a lot of courage to be consistent doing this 44 times. You're right. But, you know, I put myself into the position of being coachable and listening to somebody who was a multimillionaire, right? Highly successful entrepreneur, right? He used to do keynote speeches and, you know, it would be like $10,000, $15,000 for a keynote speech in some, you know, Fortune 500 company, right? So I was following the steps that my mentor instructed me to do. And I wasn't saying, well, you know what, Dr. Poulos, that sounds like a great idea, but I don't think it's going to work for me. I don't think I'm going to do it. No, it's not what you do. That's called not being coachable, guys. That's called not being coachable. Okay, so back to this conversation. The difference between the successful people, the big money earners and the no money earners. Number one, they set an intention. Okay, they set an intention. Okay, number two, they set a strategy. Okay, now the fastest strategy, guys, truly is following a blueprint behind the mentor, which is exactly what I did with Dr. Poulos. I didn't try and reinvent the wheel. I didn't try and come up with a better way. I listened to the exact formula that he gave me. Okay. Now, as you're doing what you're doing, especially when it comes to marketing, it's kind of like a sailboat. You have to be able to look at the data and steer the sail of the sailboat so that it's catching the wind. So a sailboat actually is going like this to get to its destination, right? It's not a direct point from A to B. They're kind of zigzagging like this to get to the destination point. Works exactly the same in marketing. People, what they do a lot of times is they set out a strategy, but they don't kind of tweak it and adjust it as they're going. So guess what happens? They end up sailing right into the rocks. They're not paying attention to their business. So they don't get the results that they're looking for because they weren't paying attention. The data will tell you. You just got to look at the data and pay attention to your business. Okay. Now, that's called testing and tweaking as you're going, right? And the other thing that you got to do is show up. Okay. Show up. 80% of success is all about showing up. Now, here's what I'll tell you, the bizarre thing. I can take 100 people that say they want to dream. Okay. 20 of the 100 will show up. Okay. Out of the 20, there will be 4 that are actually will move into some type of action. And 1 person out of the 4 will be 100% coachable. They won't argue with a single thing that I say. They will do the exact steps that I tell them to do. They won't question it. They won't question it. Okay. Pornfit Molding is a perfect example, right? She hated her job, right? She has $50,000 in the hole. Her marriage was on the rocks. She just found out that her mother was diagnosed with cancer. That's where she started. Okay. She's now made over $250,000 by being coachable. She never argued with me a single time. Not once. Not once, guys. Darren, what do I got to do next? Do these steps. Okay. And she'd go do them, right? Now she's a freedom entrepreneur. She does business consulting, plus she has an online business as well. Okay, over $250,000. Josh Cousins, $250,000 in 18 months because he was coachable. Now, for the first 18 months, he wasn't. Tried to reinvent the wheel until he hit rock bottom. And then he said, geez, I think I better be coachable here. And now I just saw a post where he had a post where he'd made about 10,000 pounds in 2 weeks. Okay. He's 20 years old now. So it gives you an idea of what's possible in the event that you are coachable. Okay. In the event that you are coachable. Let's see. Okay. What do we got here? For all of you on here who don't know Darren, if you're coachable, he can get you into the life of your dreams. Don't waste another minute. Work with him ASAP. You'll be glad you did. Appreciate that, Ron. Appreciate that. Isabel says, hey, Darren, how are you, Isabel? Great to have you here today. Ray Helton says, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy is another powerful book worth reading. Awesome. Okay, guys. So first of all, thanks a lot for joining me on this broadcast today. I appreciate your time. I value your time. I don't know how long I've been talking here. I just talk for however long, and then I look at it later and I go, whoa, I was talking for like 45 minutes or whatever, right? But in the event that you want to surrender your pride, you want to surrender your ego, and you truly want to get to the next level and 10x your income 100% unequivocally. Okay, I'm not talking about hype here, guys, because there's one thing that's important to me in business. Results. Results, okay? That's what takes you to the promised land. Results, okay? And I can guarantee you that if you show up and you're coachable, I can get you the results that you're looking for. 100% guaranteed, okay? Chris Napa, great to see you here. Intention strategy, tweak as needed, show up and be coachable. Thank you, Darren. Amazing value. Thank you, Angelina. Appreciate you. That's okay. It's great to listen. Awesome. And Isabel says, great tips. Guys, my name is Darren Little from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Thanks a lot for joining me on today's broadcast. And let's go get it. Have a good one. All the best.